Hey, this is Mike from Minimal 3DP, and today I'm taking a look at the latest beta of OrcaSlicer, version 2.3.2 beta 2. So let's go ahead and get started. With the upcoming release of version 2.3.2, I've decided to take a look at the most recent beta so we can just sort of see what's up and coming in OrcaSlicer. Now, there's lots of great features. If we go over here to the release notes, you go through here, and again, there's a ton of changes and lots of great things and fixes and improvements and quality of life. Lots of great things are happening, and the community's done an awesome job of improving the slicer and constantly making it better. Also learning from improvements from other slices like PrusaSlicer and Bamboo Slicer and pulling those in. Now, before we go ahead and take a look at the beta, I want to do a couple housekeeping things here. One, before you go ahead and install the beta, always make sure you back up your profiles. That way, it is beta software. If the worst were to happen, all your profiles and customizations are safe. Now, the easiest way I found to do that is you can export them out, but you can also go up here to Help, go to the Configuration folder, zip them, and copy them somewhere else. So that way you have them. I found, particularly on my Mac, depending on how I remove the beta, occasionally that'll delete all my profiles. So again, you just want to be extra safe. The other thing you need to know that if you're using the beta and you run across an error, make sure you come back over to GitHub, leave those details and the bug in the issues, and put as much information as you can, including any error logs you have, the system you're using, because again, sometimes a bug might appear in Mac, but not Windows. And in fact, I think I saw here in the release notes that they had to re-release a beta because the Mac version didn't compile correctly. So again, something to be aware of. What I'm going to look at today and over the next couple of weeks are these new features. Today, I'm just going to concentrate on UI changes and just some other quality of life things that I've noticed. To start with, I found the beta to be really fast. I am printing using this now, so I've been pretty happy with it. Some things to look at is they've changed the UI and to make it more consistent. But if you look up here under Printer, you'll notice this is much more compact and informative. Now it's listing the printer, your nozzle, and then your bed type. And you can hover over those or click the down arrow and see what your options are. The Wi-Fi connectivity has moved up here next to where it says printer, so it's up above. Again, a little bit more visually pleasing and things I think are much easier to see what's happening. For me, I sort of like this. I also like the fact that probably in some of my profiles, I'll start getting rid of the nozzle diameter just to make these a little cleaner. One of the other features I want to point out, let me go over here to the web browser, is I'm just going to click in here. So the developers have integrated an improved G-code viewer, and that's ported over from PrusaSlicer. And that goes back to what I said about how the community is using all the great features from various slicers and all this shared innovation. So it's really awesome stuff. Now, I want to point out with this new G-code preview, you now have the ability to look at actual speeds and look at volumetric flow rates in real time. And that's extremely powerful. If we go over to the beta, if we come down here under quality, one of the things we can do, we can now go over here and check set other flow ratios and now really fine tune the flow ratio across the model for all the various features. So to look at this preview, I'm just going to slice, and this brings up the regular preview window. This will take a minute. So it brings up over here, but now I can go up here and go to actual flow. And so now as I'm looking through the model, I can see what the flow rate is, what the speed is. There's the little chart up here. So again, pretty awesome. Go up here again and select actual speed. And I can do the same thing with the speed to look at how fast the model is printing. And probably use this to identify where I'm having issues and do some tuning. So again, pretty great feature. Now, one of the other interesting features, and we'll switch over here to the browser, is there's now a modular printer agent architecture, which basically that's going to allow us to sync the filament for various multi-filament units. So AMS units like those that are on Quitty, Snapmaker, and as well as the Armored Turtle box and maybe some of the other ones in the future. So again, we'll be able to actually sync the AMS style material systems directly with OrcaSlicer. So pretty cool. Another feature I really like over here in the browser is the ability to look at the tool position and speeds. So if I'm looking at my model, I'm just going to run across the x-axis here. And if you notice, you can see the tool head moving across the model. Now I can hit the up arrow here and hit show. And you'll notice it's showing me the position, the speed, all the various information. And again, this is pretty awesome stuff. You have much more detail here as to what's happening. At any given point, you can look at what the flow rates are. So again, I can see myself using this. If I have a model that doesn't come out the way I want it to, I can literally sit here and try to figure out what position the problem was, and then analyze what the speeds are, what the flow rates are, and make some adjustments. That together with this ability to change individual flow ratios gives me a lot of control over how the model will look. Now, as I already mentioned, some of the buttons have moved and where things are at have changed. It was a little confusing to me. I just want to show this. Once I figured it out, no problem. I just need to click the little button here to get the printer settings to show up. And I've also noticed here I had trouble finding the set other flow ratios, mainly because I didn't have it checked. And I didn't realize I had to find that checkbox. So again, just some different things. Some tools have moved around a little bit. Nothing that I think is really bad. In fact, everything I've seen so far, I really like. Now, the last thing I want to point out really quickly is there are a lot of new printer profiles. So depending on what printer you have, you might want to take a look. They've added some different printers, and I think there's also some updates here to those printers, new filament profiles, and just general fixes for various profiles across the board. So there's lots here. If you get a chance, I would take a look at the release notes. In one of my next videos, I'll start taking a look at other new features. My plan is back over in the slicer to really do a deeper dive into bridging, as well as looking at those other flow rates. So hopefully you found that helpful. If you have any questions or comments or a feature you'd like to see me cover, please let me know. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks. Have a good day. Hey, this is Mike from Minimal 3DP, and I just wanted to take a minute to thank you for supporting the channel, and also let you know that if you're interested, I've recently launched a Patreon page. On Patreon, I have 2 membership options, which for just $5 a month, that really helps me out and generates some additional income that I use to plow directly back into the channel. Part of the benefits of supporting me via Patreon, I've taken a lot of the tools I've developed over the years. You can still use all the tools, the calculators, and I'll continue to add functionality. But what I've done is, like in the case of the OrcaSlicer settings, you now have the ability to export out these new settings that it's generated for you as an OrcaSlicer profile. Over on the cost calculator, you now have the ability, you can save your invoices so you can go back to them, some reviews and analysis. If you're logged in with Patreon, you click Analyze, it'll actually go out, find video with the most number of clicks. So I also have reviews and analysis on various 3D printers so you can get some additional information. So again, thank you for your support. I appreciate it. And now let's go back to the video.